Okay, good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? We're doing good, I suppose. What did we just open up the show with? I have no goddamn idea. It's Leprous, the song is Coal. The band is Leprous, apparently. I have no idea. I was actually going to open up with a couple of songs. I had a song called Coal by a Tyler Labine. I was going to open up originally with Coal Miner's Daughter by Loretta Lynn. Neither of those worked out for some reason. I'm going to assume that maybe there was some kind of copyright thing with regards to the very famous Coal Miner's Daughter song. So that didn't work out. So then I downloaded some other song about coal, and then it gave me something completely different. I genuinely don't know how things work anymore. I'm starting to think Ted Kaczynski was right. So yeah, there's technical difficulties. But, things are going, and they're going along. Yes, Ponythroat asked, is this song also about becoming a single mother? No, actually, it's not. Because the actual queen of coalposting probably can't be a mother at all, but we'll get to that in a little while. That is a pop culture thing, which of course we usually do later on in the show, but it's so incredibly stupid, I just had to make it the title story. But anyway, before we get to the stupid side of things, we're going to get to, well, the other stupid side of things, but, you know, the less stupid side of things. Or the more, rather, I should say, the political and actually important stupid side of things. Things that will actually affect you, not just, you know, dumb pop culture things. And yes, fans of Andrew Breitbart, I know politics is downstream of culture, but politics is more important in the grand scheme of things. So what happened? Well, everybody's favorite androgynous Ken doll fascist Nick Fuentes went on the Piers Morgan show. Oh joy. The blind leading the stupid. Or actually, what was that that old YouTube video, two retards fighting? Yeah, that's what it is. So yes. Nick Fuentes sashayed his delicate, you know, twink self onto the Piers Morgan show. And Piers Morgan confronted him on his views, such as his praise of Adolf Hitler. The YouTube interview featured featured Morgan playing clips of Fuentes' past statements on race, gender, and history, including arguments against women's voting rights. Piers Morgan actually confronted Nick about the question everybody wants to know: are you in fact gay? He denied it, but he does say he's never had sex. Well, you know, I would imply that he hasn't had sex because he was probably raised in a conservative environment in which he had to stifle his quite obvious flamboyantly gay urges. All I'm saying is the man does live with a cross-dressing cat boy. But yeah, sure. He's either never had sex at all, or I'm sure he's doing some kind of loophole thing to say he's never had sex per se, which is to say, you know, PIV coitus. Okay, something crime statistics. And he declared himself fine with being racist, also questioning certain Holocaust narratives. Both sides claimed victory afterwards. I mean, Fuentes versus Morgan. This is Alien versus Predator. Whoever wins, we lose. Okay. Tony Gilbert says, with regards to classic country singers, I had a friend get a strike for using a Dolly Parton song. Yes, we'll be talking about certain other artists who nickel and dime people. You know I'm alluding to Taylor Swift there, but we'll get to that in a little while. He then says, Piers Morgan is so bad, England doesn't want him. Yes, for those of you who are not aware, as much as Piers Morgan likes to pretend that he's a, you know, dignified and proper journalist in the United States, back home in Old Blighty, he was basically one step above Jerry Springer on British TV. He's not a respected man in Albion. Alpha Rodriguez says, better an incel than a cuck. I mean, I think they're about on par, to be quite honest. And, you know, with regards to Nick Fuentes, all I'm going to say is the man has, I say man with the biggest of air quotes, the man literally has said he finds vaginas to be disgusting, so, you know, I'm just saying he'd probably be a lot happier if he just admitted his actual sexual proclivities. And it's not like there weren't gay Nazis. I mean, Ernst Röhm says hello. And yes, I'm aware that he was violently purged with the Night of the Long Knives in 1934. But yes, he's... I mean, I understand why stupid people support Nick Fuentes, because the Groypers are all just terribly, terribly dysfunctional human beings. And, you know, it's just a guy who, you know, is somewhat well-groomed and wears a suit is like an uber mensch in comparison to those morons. But if nothing else, I hope this exposes how stupid both these people are. I don't know. Like, why anybody takes either of these people seriously, but I guess society's declined that much, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, this dickhead is getting on TV. Like, how have I not gotten on TV at some point? I feel like I'm more articulate than any of these people. Anyway, speaking of politics and speaking of randomly shrieking about statistics pertaining to black people, basically, Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Butt, he is continuing to try to appeal to the black community, and he is failing miserably. Democratic presidential primary polls for the 2028 elections show that Pete Buttigieg is polling with a solid 4% of the black community. You want to know a really embarrassing statistics? Former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke has a 14% support of black people, and he's running for Senate in Louisiana. I don't know how you managed. Boy, that's stunning. Former Ku Klux Klan leader has more black support than a gay dude from Minnesota. That's bravo. Boy, the Democrats are screwed for the next election, aren't they? And who do they have front running? I mean, you got Patrick Bateman, Gavin Newsom. You got Petey Boy. You got I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary Clinton tries to run again. It's I guess we could just, I mean, by definition, Trump can't run for a third term. I'm sure he'll try, but he can't legally. I think we should just I think 2020 is just going to be a shoo-in for the Republicans because, boy, the Blues are not doing well. Alpha Rodriguez says, my dad watched a lot of Nick Fuentes just because my dad is big into anti-Zionism, and Nick is apparently really good at it. I heard some of his streams, he's a lot funnier than expected. Yeah, like I said, Nick does present well, I suppose, but yeah, he's a miserable human being. Just from, if you read up on like what Groypers have done, and just his whole philosophy is just so counterintuitive. Like, I don't watch Nick Fuentes. I mean, I've watched the Beckloff ripping on him. He'll literally say, like, if you watch the Groyper streams, it's literally like, don't get a job, don't like hit on girls, like just sit in your house like jacking off playing video games all day, and that's like the movement. Can't say I approve of that. Alpha Marie says insert Chris Rock bit. Well, actually, when I just read that statistic, I was actually thinking about the bit from Parks and Recreation where Donna says she voted for him because I didn't know who he was. He just said he was going to lower taxes. Donna's black, by the way, for those of you who don't know, and she's also the niece of former Liberian President Marietta Ellen Sirleaf Johnson. Sorry, Marietta Sirleaf is the actress in question. She goes by the mononym Retta. Ponythroat says Gavin Newsom getting more votes than Booty Judge. Yes. I don't know, like, are gay white men just so detestable to black people that they'll literally vote for a white supremacist more so than him? I don't know, maybe Mayor Butt has to, like, carry some hot sauce in his purse to be down with the people like Hillary Clinton does. I mean, I eat hot sauce too, but nobody gives me elections. Anyway, what else is going on here? Okay, so we have some more international news. Something went a bit viral on the Twitters. Basically, a Twitter man named The People's Therapist talks about his not so great experiences living in Sweden. He's an American who, lived in Sweden. We thought, my family, it was the safe, stable, open society everybody praises. It nearly destroyed us. So he talks, he worked for Amazon, this, Scandinavian branch. He lived in the countryside, he paid taxes, spoke the language. He tried to be the expat family. Swedish social services turned its eyes upon my family, not because of neglect or abuse, because my son insisted on being decidedly American. He climbed trees, he was enthusiastic, he was proud of my military service. In Sweden, this non-compliance simply will not do. Social services is engineered to view foreign families as being disruptive to the social order if they are not Swedish enough. My friends warned me that social services was the last holdout of hardline Marxists who believed in the doctrine of the new Swedish man, where they could recreate people based on their social and political doctrines. And because we are American expats during the Trump administration, hassling us was considered punching up. Okay, so he goes on. Just really petty, passive-aggressive bullying. Being watched, by social services. And I tried to explain to them that in America, there was a lawyer present to explain complex proceedings and defend rights. They said, social services said, we represent the best interests of children against the parents. Okay, so it goes on. And it's a really long thread. It's pretty interesting. Just... So then my phone started blowing up with Swedish social... So basically they came back to America and social services agents demand that they come back to Sweden. They were raiding schools, our friends' houses, and so on and so forth. It's funny how they do this to the expats, who are just kind of different from the social structure, but not the ones who, light cars on fire and throw hand grenades. But, these Americans who work for Amazon, they're the ones who are not Swedish enough. Boy, I always had a suspicion that Scandinavia was not, in fact, the magical fairyland that American liberals think it is. But I guess I have some confirmation there. Check out some comments. Alpha Marigi says, Gavin Newsom's I want trans kids thing makes me think he changed his mind about being president. Eh. Okay. Hey, you got some other comments here? No, we do not. But yeah, speaking of places that Sweden would probably much rather have people coming from than the United States, in Afghanistan, the Taliban have detained 4 young men for dressing like Peaky Blinders. These men tried to explain that they were inspired by the British series. They have been accused of promoting a foreign culture. Such behaviors, say the Taliban officials, does not align with Islamic values and Afghan culture. We saved our country, now we will protect it. They were put in prison and forced to apologize on national television. So yeah, these guys are, gadding about in like flat caps and three-piece suits and long coats, and we don't do that here in this country. We don't do that in this country. I mean, if you can't cosplay, what can you do? I mean, I've never watched a single episode of Funky Pockets, but I don't see anything wrong with dressing up in their outfits. Yeah, post down there says the lads were assigned to participate in Taliban-approved cultural activities shortly thereafter. Afterwards, he was referring to Bakabazi. Just FYI. Okay, let's check out some comments. Okay, Biff Slankovich says, I was having trouble connecting. Alfredo says, why would you go there? I think you misunderstood. These guys were, in fact, they were Afghans. They just watched Peaky Blinders and they wanted to dress up like Peaky Blinders. And the Taliban did not approve. I'm kind of curious as to what exactly what television shows the Taliban do approve of. Insert joke about preteen drag queens here. But yeah, I don't know why you would go to Afghanistan unless you're Miles Rutledge. Okay. See what's going on. Kind of drunkenly staggering back to Sweden. But also kind of related to the United States as well. The RFK Jr. Make America Healthy Again initiative has been making some changes. Walmart has begun stocking their new shells with new chips, with no dyes or artificial flavors. People are upset about this. So says Fluorescent Gray. It's crazy to think about how much of a stupid motherfucker you have to be to think RFK Jr. isn't a piece of shit fraud. I don't see what the problem is with getting rid of artificial dyes and colors and chips. And bear in mind that, this is where it ties back to the European thing. These are the people who will go on and on about, American food is so unhealthy. I went to the glorious, magical fairyland of Europe and I ate nothing but bread and pasta. There's so much artificial ingredients here. And yeah, I agree with that. I do genuinely agree with that. But now that they're actually changing the ingredients, and I guess it's just because the Republicans doing it, they're like, how dare you? How dare you get rid of our artificial chemicals and shellac? No, it's an integral part of our culture. We need the chemicals. Is it in fact just the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome? Yeah, probably. How dare you take away our paint in the food? As much as loath as I am to paraphrase Ronald Reagan, I'm kind of leaning towards that idea of I didn't leave the left left me, because I like organic food, and some people like going to farmers markets and wearing hemp shoes. 10 years ago that would have made you a hippie. Now you're a right-wing tinfoil hatter. And yeah, there's certainly reasons to criticize Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I mean, the way he treated his first wife was absolutely horrendous. But yeah, the food thing is not the issue here. Oh no, they're gonna take our dyes. I mean, if this helps people stop being fatties, I guess that'll be good. There's a problem with the food in the United States. And speaking of food, crappy food to be specific, okay, 7-Eleven is calling it quits in many parts of the United States. In Los Angeles, a large group of scare quote teens in a bike gang loot a 7-Eleven, start throwing snacks out the store to all their friends. Okay, 444 underperforming stores are going across the United States. They're closing across the United States. 93% of closures were a result of massive losses due to theft, property damage, and general mismanagement. Some estimates show every single big corporate grocery and convenience store leaves areas of high crime and violence around or before January 2028. Yeah, you don't say. They have localized closures to crime patterns, claiming they do not focus on a conglomerate-wide exodus driven by racial animus. Some say this might just be a legal way of covering their ass. Yeah. Can't imagine why that's happening. I can't imagine. Well, I guess I never imagined I would live to see the transition from a first world country to a third world country, but here we are. Pretty soon we're going to have armed security outside convenience stores. Just like you might see in Mexico City or Luzon or, in many other countries. Oh, joy. I mean, are we giving up on that blast classical music as loud as you can? Because I think that might do it. Yeah, I've said just run it into like every shithole neighborhood in the United States, just blasting classical music. It that might save things. And then they wonder why there's food deserts. Yeah, it's a mystery, all right. 19th century says, I would never have guessed. I mean, I do like fast food when done properly. Why the whales? A bear thought it was a raccoon. That might. I mean, I don't know how many whales are looting 7-Elevens. I mean, some of them might be approximately the size of a baby whale, but there's not whales as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it's a mystery why there's food deserts. It is a mystery. Now, obviously, they're just shoplifting, so, lethal force is not really an option, but I don't know, like maybe pepper spray or something might be nice and effective. Yeah, there's quite a few stupid stories about crime and general terrible things going on. Oh yeah, going back to Europe, those Christmas markets everybody loves. Yes, people of mysterious demographics are ruining those. Like people of some inexplicable background, they destroyed the nativity scene. They beat 2 donkeys, destroyed electrical boxes and Christmas lights, robbed stalls, and defecated in the church. I'm going to presume that they had those giant, like, concrete hedgehog barriers to stop truck attacks, which they have in Europe for some mysterious reason. But, at least that didn't happen. Just some donkeys got fustigated. And shit was laid on the floor. Oh my God. You know, in my class last week, I was talking about Jacques-Louis David and Napoleonic propaganda, and I did mention offhandedly that nobody's ever looked cool riding on a donkey with regards to the painting of Napoleon crossing the Alps. Yeah, donkeys are not cool, but come on, you know, who beats up a donkey? They don't deserve that. I mean, I guess I should be happy that the donkeys weren't, sexually assaulted, which I'm very surprised they weren't, to be honest. They were just physically assaulted. Thankfully, the donkeys were not seriously injured. But, look, I know it's Europe and they like to jack themselves off about how much more civilized they are than the United States while this sort of thing happens. But, I don't know, like Germany, could you have gotten some kind of pikeman or something to stop this from happening? Okay, 19th century says referring to blasting classical music might work. I mean, it has worked in certain places because, like the Brappies don't like classical music. He also says, we love donkeys. Yes, I like a donkey. Some people don't. But yeah, some people just cannot handle being in a market with nice, civil people. And speaking of, something else went viral on the Twitters. Basically, in the Mall of America in Minneapolis, some person of indeterminate ethnic background, wink, wink, picked up one of those big, those stools they have and just chucked it at people at the bottom of the escalator. Just 'cause. Some people just feel the need to kill mall goers for fun. Hey, remember when I mentioned this on Twitter, actually. Say what you will about Richard Nixon. He wanted to imagine a future where America had, like, cheap nuclear energy and, things weren't complete shite. Oh, boy, we didn't get that. I'm just saying, like, if you throw a heavy stool down at people, like, isn't that attempted murder? Like, that is attempted murder, is it not? I'm going to say the same thing I've said many times. Fustigate Brappies, roundhouse kick Brappies, headbutt Brappies, slam Brappies through windows, hit Brappies with bricks. TBD now. The 19th century says, did you see what happened in Dublin? I'm sure it was something stupid. A woman opened her front door and somebody set her on fire. Yeah. Boy, what's great? How all of civilization is going down the crapper. Speaking of, in Kentucky, basically a man named something Exantis who killed a young boy gets released 9 years early. Yeah, Ronald Exantis. In 2015, killed a little boy. Ronald Exantis killed a little boy. He served 9 years in prison and got out for good behavior. He was then quickly rearrested. I mean, but he was arrested not for a crime per se, but for violating his parole. But he's going to get out pretty soon. Apparently next year. You get a 20-year sentence for stabbing a 6-year-old boy, apparently. Then he was the insanity defense and just got out. Okay, cool. I mean, look, there's a lot of problems with the American justice system, but can we agree that, if you murder children, you should be dead? Like, even if you're insane, like, you should still die. I can't believe this. I mean, I personally have a few ideas for reforming the justice system, but, whatever. No one's electing me to president. Okay, 19th century, redacts a couple of messages. One can only imagine what he said. Now, it's worth pointing out that Ronald DeSantis is black and the little boy he stabbed is white, but that's not to say only black people get away with stupid crimes. White people get away with stupid crimes too sometimes. Which really makes it hard for me to believe that America is so draconic and harsh on crime when, feral brappies literally just walk constantly. Stillwater teenager Jesse Butler walks free after multiple rape charges and 0 jail time. Just counseling, curfews, community service, and supervision until he turns 19. So just to clarify, he sexually assaulted multiple women, strangulation, at least 2 victims, recorded evidence. But because he's, only 17, it's just, we can't punish him. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't... I'm pretty sure that by the time I was 4, I understood that it was wrong to hurt people. Yeah, I say yes. If a child kills or rapes somebody, yeah, kill his ass. I don't care if I come off as harsh or cruel for saying so. Anyway, Jesse Butler from Stillwater, Oklahoma, is a former. He was a, solid baseball prospect who could have gone to college. Is literally the meme. I'm sorry your daughter was raped by a retarded cannibal. We need him for the football team. Well said, sir. I'm really hoping that somebody could take the law into their own hands now. It just might happen. Okay. Ponythroat says... Oh, well, 19th says, what are brappies? I live in Britain. Brappy is a neologism that I invented. It's not really an American slang per se. I did a video on it, a recorded video. Basically, a brappy is a feral, unemployable, violent retard who makes stupid mouth noises and assaults people on the street, to succinctly sum it up. Ponythroat says it's not the worst kind of stool he could have tossed. Like going to Vegas to toss a few craps. It's a double entendre. Well said, sir. Boy, it sure is great living in a narco-tyranny. Okay. Going to advertising. McDonald's has released an AI-generated Christmas commercial. The people who behind it said they hardly slept for several weeks while writing AI prompts and refining shots. AI didn't make the film, we did. Yeah, can AI people stop pretending like they actually do anything? You're literally typing in a prompt. Okay, yeah, you have to refine it to get exactly what you want. But It's not actual art. Okay, I'm genuinely tired of people pretending this is not the future of media, says ChatGPT21. Could this person commenting be an AI person? Like, it sucks, okay? This is AI slop. It's garbage. I can tell it's fake. And I barely even see how this is like advertising McDonald's. Okay, let's see. There's people having terrible Christmas. And, okay, someone's exploding. The dog pulls down the Christmas tree. Okay. And the guy goes to McDonald's because he's given up on life. Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'm sorry, like, it looks like AI. It sucks. AI is not good. Screw Tilly Norwood. I'm not watching her crap. I mean, I don't regularly eat McDonald's anyway. But, I mean, this isn't going to convince me to go. Like, you gotta... I say bring back Mac Tonight. Mac Tonight might make me want to go eat some dinner. I might want to make it Mac Tonight at McDonald's, but you know this ain't gonna cut it. "19th century says immigrants are just anybody with regards to brappies." No, it could be literally anybody. Like there's white brappies, there's black brappies, there's all kinds of brappies. It's a state of mind. Brapdom is a state of mind. Alpha Maria says AI is good. It puts localizers out of a job, and there's a lot of slop. I don't know, personally, I would much rather pay an artist than do AI unless I absolutely had to. Ponyfield says Mac Tonight knows how to deal with brappies. Oh, yes, he does. Okay, so now finally we come to the title story. There's apparently a new Netflix movie called The Queen of Coal. Not the Queen of Coalposting. This is the Queen of Coal. And boy, in the annals of shit that never, ever, ever happened, this is the most never happened thing that ever happened. Never. Here's the synopsis of the film. A trans woman dreams of working the coal mines. In a town steeped in superstition and patriarchy, Carlita must fight to earn her way underground. Boy, how do I begin dissecting this? Okay, first of all, nobody has ever dreamed of working in a coal mine. Like, I'm sorry, like, show me one person whose first choice in life was working coal. Excuse me, Commissar. Why am I writing poetry? I'm a coal mining enjoyer. I wanted to work in the mines. Write the poetry, Tavarish. Yeah, secondly, I don't know how many trans women dream of working in coal mines. That's an even smaller number than the people who want to work in coal mines in general. I'm just saying there's a reason why like 90% of trans women do the most like performative like buttons and bows, like femininity imaginable. It's not because they want to be, you know, hauling ass in the mines. Thirdly, I don't know what kind of superstitions keep people out of the mines. Those damn Tommy knockers, like keeping people out of the mines. How dare they? Stupid mine elves. Also, this might be the first time anyone's ever referred to Tommy knockers on this stream. Fun fact, belief in the Tommy knockers existed well into the 20th century amongst miners in the United States. I imagine it's those damn mine elves keeping trans women out of the mines. A summary from G Prime 85. I always wanted to mine coal as much as I wanted to be a woman. Jesus says you're not allowed. Get out of here. We hate you. Grr. The mine collapses. The fat capitalist CEO. There's no men who can save our miners. How about a woman? Blah. Okay. Trans miner digs everybody out, slings her pickaxe on her shoulder, walks away. Thank you, trans miner. You're different than us, but damn if you can't dig better than the best of us. Trans miner's the queen of coal. Cut to Donald Trump pooping his pants with rage. The end. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. Looking at some comments here. There are funny AI memes. I mean, yeah, there are, but I know, I think it's a bad trend. 19th century says, so it's the opposite of Billy Elliot. Yes, kind of. Billy Elliot, for those who are not aware, it's a story about a little gay boy who wants to defy his, macho coal miner father to learn ballet. This story is the opposite thing. It's about a little gay boy who becomes a woman and wants to go into the mines. I mean, Alpha Riga says most trans women are leftists. Most leftists are climate alarmists. Is that really true? They're mostly leftists? Because there is a certain noticeable, like phylogeny of trans women who are these like macho, high achieving alpha males who become trans at the age of 50. So I don't know. Ponythroat says, I get the Tommy knockers reference. It's one of the weaker Stephen King movies. Well, I was actually referencing the actual folkloric creature Tommy knockers, who are little, kobolds that live in the mines. But yes, Stephen King did name his story after these creatures. Yeah, Stephen King himself apparently did not like the Tommy knockers all that much. Mainly because he was doing piles of cocaine while writing it. Alpha Marigi asks Ponythroat, why is your PFP no longer a pony? 19th Century says, never heard of him. You learn something new every day. Alpha Marigi also says, if they wanted to tell a realistic story about a trans woman, they could have just had her canceling people in her speedrun community. Yeah. Alpha Marigi says, that macho man who becomes trans at 50 is a different generation than the kind I'm familiar with. I mean, it's definitely a thing. I mean, yeah, like the funny thing is, like, there are some trans people who are like the kind of like weesh, like little Twinkie boys who you can tell like they are always very feminine, and then there's some who aren't. I mean, it's obviously not a community I'm in, but I'm sure that, actually, I know for a fact that somebody has done research on it, but they shut his ass up real quick. The Man Who Would Be Queen is the book on that. Okay, just give me 1 second now. He's got another text. How to answer that. Shinseki Evan says, missed the beginning. Did you cover the death of Cary Tagawa? Wait, what? Cary Tagawa died? Jesus, no one told me about that. Okay, yes, Ed Boone says, Cary Tagawa died at the age of 75. He was an amazing actor, one of a kind, dangerous swagger and athleticism. Rest in peace. Your soul is eternal. That is a shame. Yeah, I got to pour one out for a good man, Cary Tagawa. Yeah, I did not hear about this at all. Yes, Cary Tagawa, of course, very famous actor. One of the great, snarling, like, yellow peril men of, of cinematic history. You probably saw him in movies like, Mortal Kombat, Showdown in Little Tokyo, The Phantom, then a bunch of random shit you would not expect to see him in. Like reruns of Sabrina the Teenage Witch that I saw on TV one day. Oh, he was also in that terrible 2001 Planet of the Apes. Yes, all of our souls belong to you, sir. To be fair, I have been trying to use Twitter less, and I guess I just missed it that one day. Alpha Rodriguez says, did you talk about the lame awards? I don't know what that is either. But yes, rest in peace, Cary Tagawa. The other, snarling hatchet men are still alive for the time being. Al Young, Jerry Akamura, Bolo Young. I'm sure they'll all be together soon. But not too soon. He was also in Man in the High Castle. Apparently he was also in... I heard he was also in that pile of shit Reagan movie that came out last year. Which, but, he couldn't save that. But, it is what it is. Oh, yeah, he was Heihachi in the Tekken movie. And so forth. Hey. Alpha Rodriguez says, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. Yeah, I don't pay attention to the video game awards because they're, shit. I paid attention to it one year because Al Pacino was there and he just got shoved on stage and he clearly had no idea what he was talking about. Like, come on, you think Al Pacino plays video games? I doubt it. Okay, 19th Century says, did you cover the Piers Morgan thing? Yes, I did. And Alpha Riga, yes, you are correct. He was in exactly one episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I mean, Billy Gunn was in an episode of that too, but that's neither here nor there. Ponythroat says, the Tekken movie was MK Annihilation levels of awful. Yeah, it sure was. There's 3 Tekken movies, and they're all complete garbage. There's 2 animated ones and 1 live-action one, and they all suck. The Mortal Kombat movie, the original one, is still the gold standard for fighting game movies. A distant second is the original Street Fighter movie with Van Damme. And then, I don't even know what third would be. Like, I guess that Dead or Alive movie, which... I mean, the Dead or Alive movie basically captured the game exactly. It's just that the game literally has no plot and nothing beyond, like, boob physics. But, I mean, they got that in the movie. Like, there's literally scenes in the DOA movie where they're, like, shoving the camera up the girls' asses, basically. So, I mean, they got the game. Alpha says, that feel when you're born too late to guest star in a UPN sitcom. Yep. And finally, in pop culture news, but also stupid people blowing their money news, Kalshi Culture is a gambling app, or Kalshi, I should say. It's basically a thing where you could trade on anything. There's different Kalshis. Kalshi Culture is a gambling app where you can put money down on things like award shows, the pop charts, video games, and anything else pop culture. How does one gamble on popular culture? I don't know. About 10 years ago, it was literally like a joke that was going around because apparently somebody actually, I think it was British, he actually somehow, for whatever reason, he put money on WrestleMania and lost because apparently nobody told him that professional wrestling is fake. And everybody made fun of him, but I guess people are just doing that now. You could just gamble on popular culture. And speaking of, Kalshi Culture is taking bets on who's going to attend the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding. See, I told you I would come back around to singers who just have a voracious, ferocious, Christmas grip on their copyrights. Because, boy, does Taylor Swift ferociously guard her IP. Okay. Shinseki Evans says, new Street Fighter movie teaser trailer is out. I have not seen it yet. 24 says, Rise of the Robots movie when? Yeah, there's a lot of video game movies that are going to come out because we don't have any good ideas, apparently. I mean, there's going to be a second Super Mario movie. Apparently, Sega still wants to do that Space Channel 5 movie. We'll see how that happens. Alpha Mariga says, hoodweebs treat Battleship like it's the NBA. I can imagine. I mean, like, if you're that surprised with the outcome of a Toriyama shonen episode, you are not intelligent. But yes, apparently you can gamble on popular culture or things tangentially related to popular culture. Kalshi has odds on who will attend the Swift Kelce wedding. The front runner for attendance is Selena Gomez at 87% probability. I don't know what that translates to in odds. Let me just do. So an 87% probability is equivalent to 6.6 to 1 odds against or 1 to 0.15 odds in favor. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how this is calculated. Like, I just thought odds were like, simple fractional ratios, but apparently there's like complex mathematics behind this. News to me. But yes, Selena Gomez, the front runner for attending the Swift Kelce wedding. In second place, Sabrina Carpenter, 73% chance. Third place, Blake Lively, 45% chance. Are people actually gambling on this? Boy, opening up gambling on easy phone apps to the masses was a gigantic mistake. As cruel of a bastard I am, I do think that the poor should be, shepherded and, encouraged and gently guided to not make really, really stupid decisions. Because, as much contempt as I have for brappies, I don't want to see idiots, like, blowing their money on gambling on who's going to attend Taylor Swift's wedding party. And speaking of shoving cameras up people's asses, Blake Lively. Yes, I saw that shark movie she did. Anyway. I don't know how are they calculating the odds on this? This Lankovic says he wants to attend the Swift wedding. This Lankovic says we live in Patriot country. Ponyfoot says Toriyama died of a brain hemorrhage. I can see his parachute. He's okay. Yes, you punch somebody so hard they go to the home for infinite losers. Yeah, again, like I said, I don't know how they're calculating the odds for this sort of thing. I don't listen to any of these pop girlies on a regular basis. I will say, however, that having been roped into downloading sheet music for my students for several of these singers, I will, say that Taylor Swift is the only one who, nickels and dimes me for sheet music. Like, I've given her little payments of $5 or $10 way too much for my comfort. Say what you will about the likes of Selena Gomez or Sabrina Carpenter or Olivia Rodrigo. They never charged me a penny for their sheet music. Also, is this gambling regulated? Because I'm just saying, if I was one of these prospective guests, like what's stopping them from betting on themselves and like making a few $1 million extra by not showing up? Like, is there regulation for this? Like imagine, I'm Larsen Hal. Like, I have let's just pretend hypothetically, there's 5-1 odds that I will attend the Swift Kelce extravaganza. What if I just bet $10 million on myself and then just didn't show up? Am I going to make $50 million? Isn't this a gross conflict of interest? Like point shaving wedding invitations. I never thought I would say that phrase, but apparently it's a thing now. Okay. 19th century says some porn star got arrested in Indonesia for pulling off sex stunts, whatever that means there. I mean, I'm going to assume it's like maybe she like stuck ice cubes in her schniz and then shot them out at a bar or something. I mean, when you say sex stunt, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Ponythroat says, all Taylor Swift is shit music if you're talking a ghetto voice. Yeah, well said. But yeah, I'm just saying, if I were Ms. Gomez, wait, no, she's married now, or Ms. Carpenter, I would gamble on myself. Make a few extra $1 million for doing literally nothing. Never tell me the odds, sir. Okay, so that does it for my prepared remarks. You can say your last pieces now, should you desire. 19th century says, more importantly, with the people of Iran constantly rising up against the regime, how long do you think it has left? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot, as they say, there's a lot of ruin in a country. So, I mean, I hope they overthrow the Islamic regime because, I like a Shiraz myself. And they don't make it in Iran anymore. So let's hope it does. That being said, I do think that the United States should not get involved, because every time we do get involved in overthrowing some government, it tends to make things a lot worse. So let's just not get involved. Let's wish them the best. 19th century says, the regime has ruined everything. I have heard that. Yes, there's a lot of really bad pollution and such. Okay, say your last pieces now. So, I'll let you say your last pieces. Okay. 19th century says Zoroastrianism and Christianity are growing a lot in Iran. Well, that is nice. Zoroastrianism is, of course, the indigenous religion of the good Irani people. 19th century says make a video on Edgar Rice Burroughs. What about Edgar Rice Burroughs, sir? I mean, he's a good writer, but I don't know what you want me to say. Okay, Slankovich says FIFA wouldn't let her run sit for the draw to the World Cup. Yes, we'll see how that goes. Hey, Manthropology. Maybe I will do a Manthropology video on Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, there was, with regards to FIFA, there was some, like, gay thing that people were upset about. Because, FIFA, of course, being its typical scummy self. Yeah, basically, the Seattle, they were having, like, a qualifier in Seattle, and they were having, like, gay pride flags up in both Egypt and Iran. We're very upset at this. Egypt and Iran are two countries where being gay is punishable by death. They refuse to show up. '19th century says he's my favorite writer, along with H. Rider Haggard, Robert Howard, and a couple of others, maybe. Yes, very good. Okay, Alpha Riga says Donald the Trump hog saying so gay in that dumb YouTube cartoon lives rent-free in my head. I don't know what you're referring to, but I'll look into it. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for my stream today. For Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.